All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So just keep healing and praying that LA thing. I'll do the best I can to do it from here. I don't have a lot left. They took me down very far, and the trap was set. I mean, it's a metaphysical trap, and they know it. And they've been cursing me, and they block it in my medication orders and all sorts of stuff because it's a hit. But it's funny this morning. So the last thing I had to do was activate my phone that I had before I bought the iPhones, and I was able to port the number myself, but I was stuck without that number because I couldn't get the phone activated. It didn't make any sense to me because I had the SIM card that's in my phone right now in my phone last week when I was on their network, and they were telling me I had to wait for my new SIM card to go into the store. I said, this doesn't make any sense. And I let it be. I haven't had an appointment at the store. Not really wanting to go in, but I would. I wear a mask and everything. So I wore a mask this morning into FedEx. So I think you have to wear a mask for a few days. I think that's the rule. Right. So so I'm just sitting around coming back from FedEx, and this thing fixed something. It reminds me of the government people, so it must be a government thing. It just sounds like a government thing. They're screwing you more. They're screwing you. They can activate your phone. So it just went through this whole thing, and then when I got home, I said, okay, I'll give it a try, and I contacted, and the person like right away activated the phone. But it was weird. They were telling me I couldn't do something that I believed that was I was supposed to do, and then this spiritual thing kind of came up in the mind and was kind of harping on it, and it was true. You can't believe everything you hear, but sometimes it plays out. They did it real quick. They just, like I said, like I thought, they just needed the SIM ID, and then boom. Right. So that was nice. And I spent a little bit of money buying. I bought bulk, so I have excess. But I bought some boxes and from off of Amazon. I bought a bunch of tape and some packing paper because I really appreciate the whole process of them taking the phones back. And I imagine I could be mad if I wanted to be, but I mean because it's nothing worked, and that was kind of shocking. Where nothing worked at all. Trying to sort out what's going on when I'm trying to go to sleep. I keep having like gas, and you can't because it builds up in your chest, and then you wake up. So it's kind of a rough sleep last night, but at least I didn't have the heaves. That part was gone. But I just had a little bit of gas, so I just got to be careful. I made some Indian food late in the night. That could have been it. Your body adjusting and to until I get well, still adjusting to things, and it's like a curry kind of thing. I think it was tikka masala. It was I used zucchini, and zucchini can do that too. It's a carbohydrate, so sometimes I can give you a little. So I was able to get some sleep, but I'll have to wait till the night, I guess, or later on the day if I take a nap. Yep, some additional sleep. But I was just glad to get to the end of that thing. There were a lot of pushback. I was like, whoa, this morning, trying to get to the store and get the iPhone packed and all that. I actually am going to return the case I purchased for it because I would have had to do it anyway. It I think I had one other case that did that. When you buy a case with a built-in screen protector, if they don't have it, if the case isn't tight enough, it lifts off the screen, and then whatever it doesn't, you can't manipulate. I can manipulate the center of the screen, but couldn't manipulate the edges, and that's where your power button is and a bunch of other stuff. So I was like, I'm not gonna be able to keep that one. So the other one I'll probably keep because that one looked like it was working well. It's a pretty reputable company. I'd be surprised if it didn't work. I guess what do they call it? It's a company that has SUP in their stuff, SUP, right? SUP case, I guess they call it. So I got a podiatrist appointment next week. It's pretty sunny outside, but it doesn't really feel as warm as yesterday because of a little breeze. It actually, even though it didn't go below 35 theoretically last night, I think it still froze. So that's what I was worried about, where it only partially melt and then get some ice spots. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I guess if I had salt, I have to get the maintenance guy. I get him put salt. Right. Maybe that spot will finish evaporating and drying. I was able to use a spade to break it up, but then it had some. I guess it's just going to be like there's a lot of snow out there still. So this is it. After today, it's going to go back to freezing. Oh, wind's blowing pretty good too. It's going to make it feel cold out there. There's a bunch of leaves blowing around. So yeah, so it's going to get cool again for a few days. I guess that's the Arctic blast that's coming in. All right, and then we'll get it back. I guess a week from now, we'll get it back into the 30s, and then it looks promising after that. Once that starts happening, it looks like February, as long as it holds out. I've seen them forecast warm Februarys that turn frigid. I think last year there's quite a few. It took actually a couple more weeks. The groundhog didn't work out too well than what they forecasted. But there is some 40s, a lot of 40s in there. Start on and off in February, which makes it bearable. You have a bunch of days in the 20s and 30s, like 4 days or something. Then all of a sudden you get like 2 days in the high 30s and 40s. It makes a big difference. Right. So I'm just happy to get to the other side of COVID and also get this phone thing worked out. I really believed I was going to use those iPhones. I didn't have a clue because I've used them before. I've used them on with devices before. I never had problems, but and their sales is down, and that could be why. Because people just, people aren't as. As strange it is, the more we move forward, it seems like the less technically proficient people are. They want everything user friendly and plug and play. So again, iPhones tend to not be that. Like I said, if I just used it for a phone, I guess it would be fine. But because I use it for podcasts and all that type of thing, there's a lot to it. I couldn't even get like I was telling my brother, the IO44 and a couple of the other ones, when it plugs into iOS and Android, it's just a simple USB protocol, audio protocol. I have no idea what the problem is. Right. There's not like a bunch of parameters to edit or anything like that. That's done on the machine itself, or in Windows. When you go in Windows or Mac, then you have the full deep editing. So again, it is. And I got to focus on a few things here in the future to make sure my life is a little more secure than it's been. Again, you're all not going to get up, as the curses are just going to increase until you all stop and stand down those type of harassments of your neighbors. Again, it's anti-Christus, it's anti-Christ. I don't care if you say you're investigating or what. Well, what I'm getting from the Fusion Center is that it's not all them, and that we have a lot of federal things and other states, and it's just a mess that's never been controlled, is what they're saying, that they have to figure out how to enforce it themselves. Apparently, people are, reaching in from all parts of the world and nation and doing what they want to people within the confines of a state's borders. And the state has, what is the state to do? It's an electronic intrusion is what it is. But again, somebody's got to push you to do what's right and push you to protect the people. Yeah, they just make up stuff as they go along. These fly by night investigators, whether they're FBI or anything else. So what happened is my food, like my food supply changed, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh wait a minute, this is, yeah. I really didn't eat it, all of it. I just have it in like a pantry, but it actually is really gassy, the food I purchased. So again, something got me shifting a little bit into what I usually eat. It is what it is. And I still have a few days probably to recover a little bit. After COVID, it takes a little while to bounce back. But if it was warmer, it'd probably be easier. The cold temperatures make it a little bit strange. Well, I think it. I know they play the game out there, and I know people that have that kind of money to live in those homes. They accept it at a minimum. They don't want anybody coming into their life and turning their life up. Right? And again, one of the themes was when you're given much, again, the scriptural term is the more will be expected of you. And again, my name's Moore, so there's a little hint there. That you're expected to at least protect people to a certain degree. Great. And, you know, Karen Bass, she did that housing for the homeless, and a lot of people were down on her, even though she was doing it. And again, she can get herself in trouble too, even just because she's helping. In other words, you can't allow a system to exist that causes homelessness based upon spycraft or police harassment or whatever it is, and then get credit for getting people off the streets and housing them. So again, that's kind of the thing they got going on, the scam that's going on to a certain degree. Right. So again, it attacked their housing. So allow people to have peaceful lives and to live indoors in housing. Essentially, for me, I'd have been in a private sector job. I'd have had my retirement, and at a certain point, if I'd have made it, which I should have been able to, become a millionaire in the private sector, I probably would have gave up my benefits and turned my retirement back in. But I would have had to, been able to fund my life. Right? They weren't allowing that, but yet they say like I'm a public charge or whatever. On the public, I'm in the, I'm on welfare kind of thing, even though it's retirement. But nobody's worked as hard in retirement as I have. And they stole a lot of what I said and used it and made names for themselves and made money. So again, that is what it is. Well, they're experiencing. There are people in California that are experiencing. Some people have. It's just another house. They have so many houses and things, but a lot of them are experiencing homelessness to a certain degree, or at least, wow, housing is too expensive for me, or it's more expensive than we wanted to spend. So again, it's things that other people were experiencing all along. So again, it's kind of the great neutralizer going on there. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God. I'm just testing this audio also to see if it is working. I have it down a little bit, but I'm hoping that the volume is sufficient.